Hello, Exiles. Gonna take you through the difficulty 5 Zesh fight with what I think is the final form of the Archmage Sparker. My gear is completely insane. This is the most PoE 1 build in PoE 2. Clear, you just press one button, your spark. You have pretty good movement. You know, one aspect that people don't give PoE 2 enough credit for how you zoom is you move while casting. So just stutter step and have basically no movement penalty. Like I said, this is tier 5 Zesh or tier 4, depending on how you count the numbers. If the first difficulty is number 1, I guess this is number 5. If it's 0, like the devs think of it, then this is difficulty 4. As you see, the trash is no problem. Now on bosses, we do some of the combo gameplay as I don't know if this is what they intend for spellcasters, but the combo of just putting down our damage buffs and then stacking a bunch of duration and then hopefully just killing the boss so we don't have to cast it again because it's a bit of a nuisance. I've done this fight before, but I've made some serious upgrades to the character. But you see, I'm just casting a spark every once in a while. I'm not even just sitting and full casting it like this. Oh, up this way. Unfortunately, the loot from Zesh isn't that awesome, but he is the cheapest pinnacle to try. And I have a bunch of breach stones from farming breach in this character. This character is a great breach farmer. Nice thing about the Zesh fight is we get some item level 82 breach rings. So I'll show you my ring after, but I crafted it from scratch from one of the rings that dropped. I think from actually a lower difficulty of this fight, because I don't think it's 82, item level 82, but it's still a GG ring. And I hope to craft another one. Sorry, I just realized I have no audio. We just do, I don't know, 1,000,000 DPS. Like, they need to give the Ubers more HP. Or at least since the difficulty 5 is pretty much optional. This double, yeah, ice. It's a lot of hands. So you pretty much just can get away without doing mechanics, which is my favorite kind of build. He's still cursed, yeah. I would like to try the build with more shock investment. Because right now you see I've only got 5% bonus extra shock effect. I guess you stack it on jewels. Alright, we got the quiver, which I think isn't anything. A couple of exalted orbs. Not even like good tier loot. Grab the wand, it could ID good, I guess. But yep, that's the Zesh fight. If you want to build that, scales into the Endgame almost unlimited, I could still pour more currency into this build. But like I said, I think I would like to be done and find something else. I would do something with Titan, with their 50% bonus to small nodes. Try and get a bunch of AoE for something overlaps. I don't know if it's like the cluster grenades or something. I heard that skill underperforms, but it just looks so cool. All right, anyways, going over the gear. We're still using the wand we've been using for... I've been using this wand for so much. I desperately need to upgrade out of everything on my piece. Out of my character. Helmet. We've solved our reses with the bonus reses enough that we were able to get the 4% maximum mana on the helmet after the corrupt and 2% everywhere else. Everlasting Gaze, this is the big. We went all out for the final upgrade and allocated the lightning rod for lucky lightning damage. I mapped this out to a 25% damage increase, which is insane. Unfortunately, it doesn't show on the tooltip. Before and after, our tooltip standing was just 62,000. So reaching the realm of scaling of the tooltip is no longer a great way to, tell what your DPS is. Just the focus, +1 spell levels, and then all relevant stats. It's helping cap our resists. Chest 920. Like, I've been trying to get 1,000 with like 2 res rolls on it, but hasn't really worked out because I got no res on my rings. My rings are all, and the dexterity is nice. It's letting it grab some more intelligence in the tree, but the rings are all about. Like I said, this is the one I self-crafted. To craft this, I went through 20 to 30 breach rings. You need to, white base, hit it with a mana essence, hope for big mana roll or the mana regen. And if you hit one of those, you slam again, and you're hoping for the other mana roll or something useful. Like, I think I actually did hit the dexterity, so I kept crafting, and then use a caster essence for the greater to get the cast speed that's guaranteed. And then you slam the last 3 mods. Rarity's really the only other thing you care about the prefixes, which is silly. But I'm pretty sure I went ahead and I slammed the mana regen, which made this ring just GG. 20 to 30 divine ring, but I don't think they're that hard to craft, and you're not worried about it until you get the Ingenuity Belt. Before you get the Ingenuity Belt, you can solve your resist with your rings. Yeah, mana, resists, stats. But after you get this, you really want to get that mana regen and cast speed rolls. Gloves here. Nothing too special about them. They're just my resistances and energy shield. Ideally, that physical damage to attacks would be mana or more energy shield, but the resists are just too good on this rank. The pass up. Boots, movement speed, mana, resists, more intelligence right there. And then passive tree. We were trying the Elemental Storm. We tried it DPS on it. We tried it with it applying our lightning exposure. But I decided that just moving the double shock, it's just too good. Like, just monster, you have the first shock, and then with the second shock, doing 25% extra damage. Second shock, makes another, it's another 25%, but it's like a 20% DPS increase. Like Ascendant, just don't get better than that. And then the whole build revolves around the quadratic scaling of our Arcane Surge mana regen. So the more mana we get, the more we regen, but the more our spend goes up. But this regen is a more multiplier of Arcane Surge, so it multiplies with all the normal mana regen we have in the tree, and then again multiplies again with Arcane Blossom. I see some builds not taking the mana recovery rate, which is insane. It's 55% mana regen multiplier that you don't get any other source of. Otherwise, tree, just some damage nodes here. Our next point will go into breaking point here. I just actually figured out too. I'm missing 2 weapon point passives. I figured that out last night. Just reminding myself now. So I have to go get those, but we'll go ahead and get our increased exposure, and then oh no, this is shock magnitude. And then we might try and figure out how to pass to more shock magnitude. We got this here because we're going all in on that shock. We're going all in on exposure. This would be cool to grab, but the jewel sockets are also very good, and I need to get magnitude of shocks on the jewels. There's if I want to keep pushing this character, but I honestly think I'm pretty happy where it's at. DPS boss down in 30 seconds while pretty much ignoring their mechanics. There's nothing more than Path Exile, nothing more Path Exile than that. Let me remove my camera so you can see the skills better. Yep, get that away. And then our skills. Spark is acceleration, persistence, and then we have inspiration to make it so the mana cost doesn't go too crazy. And then considered casting is what I've replaced the bugged one with. There was one that would just give you plus 12% for each spell that you'd cast, different spell you'd cast recently. So I replaced that. It was considered casting, but then I still have arcane tempo in to kind of offset the cast speed. I think arcane tempo maybe could become, I don't know. There's a lot of discussion that can go on with the spark. I'm close to the point. Like, I think if this got another 1,000 mana with the quadratic scaling, you could, of your mana regen, you could remove inspiration for another damaging link, which, like, will be crazy. Stuff like that makes me want to keep pushing the build. And then Archmage, Lightning Mastery is really the only thing that can go in it. Connectivity is just the 3 curse supports that can go with it. Orb of Storms is our exposure. All around shocking. More limit, so it has more chances to shock, and it shocks the enemy, and then it does a bunch of exposure to put the enemy. It's the only way to put an enemy into a negative res. That's the last step. Is you use your curse. You curse the enemy, and then you that brings them down to 0. Hopefully, you saw 77, I think, percent curse. So even if they're res capped at 75, as long as they weren't overcapped by a ton, then that will bring them to 0, and then the exposure will bring them to -50 or whatever for another damage multiplier. Mana Tempest, just the 2 empowered things. Calling Strike is obviously insane. 5% damage increase on uniques, and everything else even more. And then just some more damage with the gain damage. So this isn't a complete multiplier, but Archmage is also gain. Flame Wall, you can put it down, and it does do a considerable amount of damage, but I'm not a fan of. I have 4 buttons to press already, and I'm not going to press a 5th. It's just too much. We didn't use it all in the fight, but if you do need to do the mechanics, you just tap, let's say, your curse, and then you got your blink. And then you just keep DPSing, and then weapon swap, and then, yep. Not sure why the animation wasn't playing there. All around, this has to be the strongest build in the game, I think. Nothing I've seen comes even close. The Pillar of the Caged God stat stacking, I guess, is probably the closest, but even that's not as tanky as this build. That's a good tanky build. Don't get me wrong, but this just literally can't die. 8,100 energy shield, and then 6,000 mana almost. This is a disgusting build, and I really look forward to crafting up the next thing. All right, see you guys around. I guess please support, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. I am really trying to get this channel off the ground, and I want to make it something great.